They pushed me toward the table like a prop in a cruel play. Sit here, Grandma. Let's see if you still remember how to play cards. That's what the rich man said, Richard Blackwell, in his glass palace above Manhattan. Laughter bounced off marble and steel. Cameras were already out. I could feel their eyes measuring my gray hair, my simple dress, my unsteady hands. My name is Rosa Delgado. Some call me La Rosa Silenciosa. But that night, to them, I was just a woman with Alzheimer's to be mocked for entertainment. Mr. Richard, my daughter Carmen whispered, tray shaking. Please. My mother isn't well. Relax, he smiled, dealing chips like confetti. If Mommy wins, maybe I raise your salary. If she loses, maybe you both need new jobs, the room roared. Cruelty always sounds louder in expensive rooms. They sat me in an Italian leather chair. At first, the faces were fog, the voices a jumble. Then my fingers touched paper. Clean, stiff, familiar. Cards. I spread them in a fan, and something in me woke up. He leaned close. Texas Hold'em, Grandma. Simple rules for a simple mind. I looked at the blue chip. How much is this worth, my son? $1,000, he smirked. More than you've seen in your life. I nodded. The fog thinned. The room sharpened. The table remembered me. They dealt. Beside Blackwell sat Patricia, a socialite with a camera smile, and James Morrison, hotel money and bored eyes. Carmen stood in the corner, praying with her hands. If you somehow win, Blackwell laughed, I'll donate $50,000 to that little charity for confused old people. But when you lose, Carmen's gone, no notice, no references. He pushed one blue chip. 1,000. Let's see if Grandma's got guts. I didn't just call. I slid 2 chips. 2,000. The room hiccuped quiet. James put down his phone. Are you sure you know what you're doing? I held his gaze. More sure than you can imagine. Blackwell raised to 5,000. I watched him, not the chips. The nostrils flare, the shoulder twitch. A banker's tell wearing a tuxedo. The flop hit the felt. Ace of hearts, king of spades, queen of diamonds. He smiled too quickly. Strong hand or a strong ego? 10,000, he said, shoving red chips. I made it 20. Arrogance, I said softly, stacking with the rhythm my hands never forgot, is the greatest enemy at any table. Somewhere behind me, I heard Carmen breathe again. In her memory, I was a woman who struggled to find the stove knob. In mine, the cards were a hallway with all the lights turned back on. Turn, ace of diamonds. River, 9 of clubs. 2 pairs for him, maybe. I saw it in the way he straightened his cuff. He shoved his mountain, all of it. 50,000, all in silence has a smell. It smells like fear and champagne. I closed my eyes, touched the edges of the years. Caesar's Palace at 3 a.m. Dealers whispering odds. Sinatra's laugh drifting over ice. Men who thought money was a strategy. The nickname they gave me because I never spoke at the table. La Rosa Silenciosa. I opened my eyes and pushed chips forward. Call. Carmen staggered. Patricia forgot to smile. James stopped breathing. Blackwell slammed his cards. 2 pair, aces and kings. I turned mine. Slow. 10 of hearts. Jack of hearts. On the board. Ace, king, queen. Ace, 9. A straight, James whispered. 10 through ace. The room cracked. Gasps. Glass on marble. The tiny hush that follows a myth proving itself true. How? Blackwell sputtered. This is luck. No, I said, gathering the pot. This is math. And memory that lives in the hands when the mind is tired. He sneered. She doesn't even know where she is. I stood, walked to his bookshelf, and pulled a photo album he kept for decoration. My fingers found the page without asking my head's permission. Las Vegas, 1974, I said, pointing to a young woman in a blue dress at a poker table, a tower of chips in front of her. Caesars. Men in suits, smoke thick as velvet. That woman is me. The murmurs swelled. James stepped closer. My father lost 50,000 that night, he said, stunned. He always talked about a woman no one could read. A doctor in the crowd finally spoke. Dr. Patricia Morgan, neurologist. Alzheimer's steals differently, she said. Names fade. Steps fade, but procedural memory, skills etched by repetition, can outlast the storm. Like a pianist still playing Chopin when words go missing, Blackwell's face hardened. Pride does not learn easily. New hand, higher stakes. Be careful, I smiled. You're already bleeding. 200,000, he snapped. All in when I say. We played. He peeked and lit up in the eyes. Pocket queens. He could have concealed it from the room, but not from me. Raise, call, raise, call. He grew louder. I grew quieter. I matched every step like a heartbeat. Show them your bluff, he said, triumphant, flipping his queens. I turned over aces, spade and heart. On the board, ace of diamonds sat like a crown. 3 aces beat 2 queens. Silence again. Priceless kind. You telegraphed your strength, I told him. Nostrils, shoulders, the watch tap, 3 times. In Vegas, we read those tells like Neon Patricia found courage or shame, maybe both. She held up her phone. Rosa Delgado, she read. World Series of Poker Women's Champion 1975. Top 10 overall in 1976. Carmen's hands went to her face. Pride looks like tears when it's been waiting too long. I stacked chips, $500,000. Slow, neat, final. That's enough for the experimental treatment in Zurich, I said, eyes on Blackwell. The one you never offered to help with. And to seed a foundation that will keep women like me from being props in men's games. Cameras went down. Shame is heavier than a phone. This isn't over, he hissed. I'll sue, fraud, exploitation. For what? I asked gently. For forcing a sick woman to play on camera and losing honestly in front of your friends? The room answered for him with silence. Carmen wrapped her arms around me. Mama, why didn't you ever tell me? Because some lessons choose their own day, I said, and some men only learn when it costs them. That night, I didn't just win money. I won something the disease had been stealing 1 quiet inch at a time. Myself. 6 months later, I walked hospital corridors in Zurich, mind clearer than it had been in years. The treatments didn't erase Alzheimer's, but they slowed the fog. Every card I had played bought me a little more sun. Carmen arrived in a blazer that fit her new life. We had launched the Silent Rose Foundation. The video had gone viral, not the cruelty they expected, but the correction they deserved. People gave. We raised millions for treatment access and to fight the quiet prejudice that calls elders invisible. Richard Blackwell. The internet never forgets. His empire bled clients. His wife left. His children stopped picking up the phone. He sat in small lobbies now, explaining to HR managers that he had changed, while hashtags reminded him of the lesson he paid for. Hashtag Rosa wins. Patricia, once a spectator, used her platform to build an anti-discrimination institute. James sent a letter that began with, "I'm sorry," and ended with a donation. One morning an envelope arrived stamped with a spade. The World Series of Poker invited me to consult. An old name whispered back into a new room. I held the cardstock in my hands and smiled. Some skills sleep. They do not die. That evening in our new apartment, Carmen spread a deck across the table. Deal us in, Mama. Of course, I said, the cards snapping like old music. Do you know what I learned? What? That memory can fail, but dignity never dies. And when people confuse money with intelligence, you get to teach them a lesson they'll never forget. Blackwell tried to humiliate a woman with Alzheimer's. He gave me back my light instead. That's how resilience works. It turns the worst table in the house into a classroom. If my story moved you, subscribe. Because the best revenge isn't rage. It's success your enemies can't afford and grace they can't understand.